December 7, 1967. A bone-stock Camaro just ran a 13.8 quarter-mile. Impossible, they said. The engine wasn't special. The body was standard. But hidden underneath was an arsenal. For 25 years, America built the greatest automotive weapons ever conceived. Not just engines, not just cars. Complete weapon systems that turned ordinary steel into legends that refused to die. This isn't about muscle cars. This is about the secret arsenal that built an empire. The weapons that created immortality. The engineering masterpieces that modern technology still can't improve. Welcome to the weapons that built American muscle. Part 1. The backbone of destruction. The transmission. 3 words that separate legends from scrap metal. Horsepower is worthless if you can't weaponize it. Detroit understood this. While others built transmissions to last 200,000 miles, Americans built transmissions to survive 200-mile-per-hour launches. General Motors' nuclear option, the TH400. Not just a transmission, a declaration of war. 3 forward gears, capable of handling 450 horsepower without breaking a sweat. The secret weapon was invisible. Inside the aluminum case lived hydraulic wizardry that would make NASA engineers jealous. The valve body controlled fluid pressure with accuracy measured in thousandths of inches. When you nailed the throttle, physics changed. The valve body sensed throttle position, engine load, vehicle speed, and driver intent. It processed this information hydraulically. No computers, no electronics, just pure mechanical intelligence. Then it delivered power like a precision-guided missile. The TH400 could be tuned. Shift points, shift firmness, lockup characteristics, everything could be customized. A single transmission became 1,000 different weapons. Today, what transmission do modern pro-stock drag racers choose? TH400s. Still. Because perfection doesn't need updating. Chrysler's Silk Hammer. Where GM built brute force, Chrysler built finesse. The 727 TorqueFlite made 425 horsepower feel civilized. The magic lived in the torque converter. Chrysler engineers discovered that converter design could completely change an engine's personality. The same engine could feel like a lazy cruiser or a violent predator, depending entirely on the converter. The 727's real weapon was reliability. You could torture it indefinitely without killing it. The 727 absorbed punishment that destroyed other transmissions. Ford's overbuilt monster. Ford built a bulldozer. The C6 was massively overbuilt. Cast iron case instead of aluminum. Clutches designed for heavy trucks instead of cars. The result was a transmission that could handle anything. The C6 could survive not just horsepower, but heat. Endless, punishing heat that would cook normal transmissions. But even the perfect transmission is worthless without the next weapon. Part 2. The foundations of violence. The rear end, where horsepower either conquers the world or explodes into expensive shrapnel. Every ounce of torque converges at the rear axle. Handle it, and you build legends. Fail, and you build expensive lessons in metallurgy. The Ford 9-inch, the undisputed king. It is 1957, and Ford created the most legendary rear end in automotive history. The Ford 9-inch wasn't just strong, it was revolutionary. The genius was invisible. Where others mounted ring gears directly to differential cases, Ford created a completely removable center section. The entire differential could be removed in minutes. Gear ratios could be swapped faster than changing tires. Drag racers discovered this first. While competitors spent hours swapping rear ends for different tracks, Ford guys changed complete center sections in their pit areas. One rear housing, unlimited configurations. But the 9 inches real weapon was strength. Nodular iron construction and precision machining that exceeded military specifications. It could handle loads that would destroy anything else. Today, what rear end do serious racers choose? Ford 9-inch. Still. Because when your life depends on not breaking, you choose the weapon that's never failed. The Dana 60, Chrysler's bridge to nowhere. Chrysler built pure, uncompromising strength. The Dana 60 was engineered like a bridge, massively overbuilt, designed to survive loads that would never occur in normal operation. Everything about the Dana 60 screamed overkill. And that was exactly the point. It didn't just survive punishment, it begged for more. The GM 12-bolt, the precision weapon. GM built a scalpel. The 12-bolt prioritized precision over raw strength, smaller components but tighter tolerances. The result was power delivery with surgical precision. The 12-bolt secret weapon was positraction, perfect power distribution to both wheels, seamless operation, and reliability that made other limited slips look primitive. 67 years later, these rear ends still dominate racing. Not because modern engineers can't build better, but because they've never needed to. But power to the ground means nothing without the next weapon. Part 3. The soul of the machine. Camshafts. That sound, that irregular heartbeat, that mechanical rhythm that announces danger from 3 blocks away. That's the camshaft, the brain, the soul, the component that determines not just how much power an engine makes, but what personality it has while doing it. Change the camshaft, change everything. The same engine can become a lazy cruiser, a violent predator, or a high RPM screamer. The camshaft decides. The science of violence, duration, lift, overlap, lobe separation. 4 specifications that create infinite possibilities. Duration controls how long valves stay open. More duration means more airflow at high RPM, but rougher idle. It's a trade-off between street manners and track performance. Lift determines how far valves open. More lift means more airflow, but requires stronger valve springs. Push it too far, and valves float, destroying engines instantly. Overlap creates the lope, that irregular idle that became muscle cars' signature sound. More overlap means more top-end power, but worse emissions. Lobe separation controls intake and exhaust timing relationship. Each variable creates a different weapon. The legendary grinds. Chevrolet's 30-30 cam, 30 thousandths lift, 30-degree overlap. This grind transformed small blocks into big block killers through perfect balance. Chrysler's purple shaft, not just a camshaft, a statement of intent. Massive duration and lift that turned engines into violent predators. Ford's Boss 302 cam. Solid lifters meant zero compliance, instant valve response, and 8,000 RPM capability. The aftermarket revolution. Isky racing cams created weapons of mass acceleration. Crane cams maximized area under the torque curve. Competition cams went extreme for maximum horsepower. The sound of power. The lope wasn't just sound, it was psychology. Before anyone saw your car, they heard your cam. Sound created reputation, and reputation won races before they started. Today's engines use computer-controlled variable valve timing, but walk through any drag strip pits. What do you hear? The same lope. The same mechanical symphony Detroit created 60 years ago. Because while technology can improve efficiency, it can't improve soul. But even the perfect cam needs fuel. Part 4. The chemistry of combustion. The carburetor. ancient technology that delivered modern miracles. While the world perfected fuel injection, America doubled down on carburetors. Not because they were backward, but because they understood something. In the hands of an artist, a carburetor could deliver fuel with precision computers couldn't match. The Holley double pumper, zero tolerance for hesitation. 4 barrels, 2 accelerator pumps, zero patience for throttle lag. Most carburetors had 1 accelerator pump. Under extreme acceleration, that single pump couldn't deliver enough fuel fast enough. The result was hesitation. The double pumper eliminated hesitation completely. 2 independent pumps meant twice the fuel delivery, twice the throttle response, twice the violence. A properly tuned double pumper could reduce 60 foot times by 0.3 of a second. The difference between winning and watching. But the real magic was tunability. Every aspect of fuel delivery could be customized. The same carburetor could be optimized for different tracks, different weather, different racing fuels. The Carter AFB, the thinking man's weapon. While Holley built brute force, Carter built intelligence. The AFB used metering rods instead of jets. Vacuum-operated rods that adapted automatically to engine load. The result was race-level performance with streetcar manners. No stumble, no hesitation, no drama. The Rochester Quadrajet, GM's secret weapon. Small primary barrels for economy, massive secondary barrels for power. The primaries created tremendous airflow velocity at part throttle. But when you buried the throttle, the secondaries opened. 2 massive barrels that could flow enough air for 500 horsepower. The intake manifold revolution. Edelbrock revolutionized intake design with the Performer manifold, aluminum construction, optimized port matching, advanced plenum design. 20 more horsepower from the same engine and carburetor. The secret was physics. Stock intakes moved air like molasses. Aluminum intakes moved it like hurricanes. Better velocity meant better combustion, more power. The carburetor myths. Bigger CFM means more power was the most dangerous myth. Oversized carburetors moved air slowly, reducing fuel atomization and hurting power. Professional builders chose carburetor size based on airflow velocity, not maximum flow capacity. Today's engines use computer-controlled fuel injection, but serious racers still choose carburetors, because while technology can improve efficiency, it can't improve the instant response and infinite tunability that made carburetors weapons of choice. But while Detroit perfected legal performance, one man was rewriting physics. Part 5. The Rule Bender. Smoky Unix Revolution. Some men follow rules, others rewrite them. Smokey Yunick proved that the difference between cheating and innovation was simply not getting caught. Smokey wasn't just a mechanic, he was a NASA engineer, racing legend, and the most dangerous man in motorsports. He saw rules not as limitations, but as challenges to overcome. The 13-foot fuel line. NASCAR specified maximum fuel line diameter. They never specified length. While others used 18-inch fuel lines, Smokey coiled 13 feet throughout his car. That fuel line held an extra 5 gallons. Legal? Technically? Genius? Absolutely. The mystery cylinder heads. Smokey's cylinder heads appeared stock but hid radical modifications inside. Knife-edged valve guides reduced turbulence. Mirror-polished combustion chambers increased compression without changing measurable volumes. The result was 50 more horsepower from a stock engine. Legal by the letter of the law. Devastating on the track. The physics revolution. Smokey understood physics other engineers missed. While others focused on port size, Smokey focused on airflow velocity. While others chased maximum flow numbers, Smokey optimized velocity profiles. The result was engines that made power where physics said they shouldn't. The fuel that powered the future. Hydrazine fuel, rocket fuel. Normal nitromethane produced 7,000 horsepower. Hydrazine produced 9,000 horsepower. The difference between winning and achieving immortality. The 7/8 Chevelle. Smokey's most legendary innovation was building an entire car exactly 7/8 the size of normal. Every dimension scaled proportionally. The car met every individual measurement requirement while being completely illegal as a whole. The legacy of genius. Today's racing is sanitized, but Smokey's legacy lives on. Every modern racing innovation traces back to his philosophy. Rules exist to be overcome, not obeyed. Active suspension? Smokey experimented in 1972. Ground effects? Smokey built them in 1968. Computer engine management? Smokey was hand-tuning with NASA precision in 1965. Modern racing technology didn't evolve. It caught up to Smokey Unique. But while Smokey bent rules, muscle cars needed supporting weapons. Part 6. The unsung weapons. Power is nothing without precision. Precision is nothing without control. These were the unsung heroes that turned raw horsepower into usable violence. The spark of destruction, HEI ignition. GM's high-energy ignition delivered 50,000 volts compared to traditional points 25,000 volts. Double the energy meant complete fuel burn, even at extreme RPM. Engines that used to misfire at 6,000 RPM now pulled cleanly to 7,500. Higher rev limits meant more horsepower. More horsepower meant dominance. But HEI's real genius was reliability. No points to wear out. No timing drift. Just instant, violent ignition that never quit. The foundation of traction. Coney shocks eliminated wheel hop. That violent bouncing that destroyed traction and shredded tires. Same car, same power. Coney shocks. 60-foot times improved by 0.2. Anti-roll bars controlled body roll. Traction bars eliminated wheel hop. Each component was a weapon against physics. The cooling revolution. Stewart Warner water pumps moved coolant like fire hoses. High-flow thermostats opened earlier and wider. Aluminum radiators provided cooling capacity that stock systems couldn't match. The result was engines that could run flat out indefinitely. The oiling revolution. High-volume oil pumps created pressure that kept bearings alive under extreme loads. External oil coolers provided heat rejection. High-capacity pans increased oil volume. Each upgrade was insurance against failure. The fuel delivery revolution. Carter mechanical pumps became the gold standard. Precise pressure regulation, high flow capacity, and reliability that never quit. Perfect synchronization without electronics. The electrical revolution. Heavy-duty alternators, high-capacity batteries, and performance wiring harnesses created electrical systems that could support performance modifications without compromise. Today's cars use computer-controlled systems, but serious racers still choose mechanical systems because mechanical systems can't be hacked and never suffer electronic failures. But all these weapons led to one question. What happens when perfection meets perfection? The arsenal that built immortality. The engines got the magazine covers. The cars got the posters. The drivers got the trophies. But the real weapons? The transmissions that delivered power like precision artillery, the rear ends that converted horsepower into forward motion with surgical accuracy, the camshafts that gave engines souls, the carburetors that turned chemistry into controlled explosions, the innovations that rewrote automotive physics. These weren't just parts, they were instruments of automotive immortality. For 25 years, American engineers created the greatest automotive weapon systems ever conceived. They built transmissions so strong, they're still dominating racing 60 years later. They created rear ends so perfectly engineered that modern manufacturers still copy their designs. They developed camshafts that gave engines personalities computer control still can't replicate. They turned fuel delivery into an art form. They bent rules until innovation emerged. They supported massive power with systems so reliable, they never quit. But most importantly, they proved something modern engineering has forgotten. Perfection doesn't need updating. Today's supercars use advanced materials, computer controls, and unlimited budgets. But when serious racers need ultimate weapons, what do they choose? TH400 transmissions, Ford 9-inch rear ends, Holley carburetors. The same weapons Detroit perfected decades ago. Because while modern technology can improve efficiency, reduce emissions, and enhance safety, it can't improve perfection. And these weapons achieved something modern engineering still can't match. They turned ordinary steel into automotive immortality. Every burnout, every quarter-mile pass, every Saturday night street race, every modern supercar that borrows from the past, they're all proof of the same truth. The real muscle car revolution wasn't about the cars. It was about the weapons, the hidden arsenal that built American automotive dominance. And 60 years later, they're still crushing the competition. The engines got the glory. The cars became icons. But the weapons became immortal. This was the arsenal that built American muscle. They didn't just make legends. They became legends.